Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. Having dinner. I finally got my stimulus. I was kind of surprised. So the day was spent shopping. So my refrigerator and cupboards are full. I've got to redesign my cupboard and closet space so that I can fit stuff, especially for the stuff that I ordered through Amazon, which during this break, as it's about to explode again, Amazon is going to have things delivered by Monday. So yeah, I took advantage of that as a result. And Amazon drivers can feel safe because I always wear the mask and gloves when I go out to meet the drivers, as I did the UPS guy today for Russ, who needed something through Amazon. So I checked online, checked online to see if there was any breaking news today. And the Bloomberg press is speculating in an opinion piece, I guess, because it's not news. Not yet. They're speculating what does our nation do if both Trump and Pence are incapacitated with coronavirus? Well, Nancy Pelosi becomes the acting president until one of those two are fully restored and able to take over power. It's not complicated. I don't know why they had to come up with that. But they did pose some interesting scenarios in which the Republicans would throw an instant fit with Democrat Nancy Pelosi taking over as president. And they would most likely force it into the courts for a decision there, which should give it to Nancy Pelosi, but these are not usual times, are they? And that wouldn't be a usual scenario, as it would never have happened ever in American history. The assassination of JFK required the amendment for taking over with the vice president and a chain of command. But it would also be interesting in the sense that despite Nancy Pelosi taking over as president, and you would think that she would instantly correct many of the blunders that Trump has been doing, she could actually implement Trump already did it, but she could actually follow through and get all the medical equipment to everybody. She doesn't need the Senate's approval for that now, because Trump has already approved it. He just didn't want to do it. He said he did it, he made the announcement, he signed the order, and then held everything back. Said, nope, I'm not giving it to anybody. So that would be the one thing I think Nancy would do, is actually all those storages, the federal storages of medical equipment that Jared said was being stockpiled for the federal government's use and not going to anybody, and being stolen from other states who were bidding for equipment for their state, that would instantly be given up. But bills would not get passed. I mean, we still have the Grim Reaper. He would see to it that she's a lame duck president till the election. But if she lasts till the election, because Trump is incapacitated or dies, along with Pence, we can definitely see some major changes. But the evidence is still pointing to Trump and Pence having the vaccine. Nobody but me has ever posed that yet. So pay attention, because they should be getting it. If they do not get it, and Friday, if they don't have it by Friday, that means they've got the vaccine, because they've now been busted. So it may be a good thing that I get my Amazon shipments by Monday. Because if the Friday night news drop is Trump has the vaccine, refuses to share with America, becomes the headline news of that weekend, all hell's going to break loose. But I did notice today, while I went out, that a lot less people on the bus this week, as per last week when Gary Herbert, Mormon governor, said, "Hey, it's the anniversary of the Illuminati. Go back to work and kill yourselves." And the buses were packed, and people were out flooding the streets, and I think I did the video on that, but yeah, it's much better this week. Why? Because everybody's getting the virus. Everybody's killed themselves or killed others. But I did notice that there were a lot less people wearing masks. I noticed 3 cute young women, 2 of which had cars, who were getting gas at the Smiths, and 1 on the bus. None of them had masks. None of them were protected. It was like no big deal to them. But people are getting very angry. They're getting very upset. People are not understanding that our privileged lifestyles are gone. One person was in a complete outrage, and the bus driver couldn't let her on the bus because of her rage. And she wasn't even wearing her mask. She had it hanging down. What good is that? The bus driver is in fear for his life because you're getting very upset, and you're exposing yourself to, if you have the virus and you aren't wearing the mask, you're a higher risk of spreading it. And nobody wears gloves but me. And so people just aren't getting it. They're not understanding that life is over. We have to figure out how to live under these conditions, and then wait until we get the vaccine 2 years from now to find out how is our life going to change under this monarchical despotism. Because that's what we have now. We have been reduced to absolute despotism. Let me read the Declaration of Independence for you, or you can watch Disney Plus. They have National Treasure again now, so you can watch National Treasure for free on Disney Plus. Well, you got to pay for Disney Plus, but it's like $10 a month. Declaration of Independence. Okay. Archives.gov. Alright. Let's see. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, not women. No! You've changed the definition if you think that women are not included in that. And you've changed the definition if you think that blacks are subhuman and therefore not constitute as human. God, people are so mean. But anyway, all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which the Constitution clarifies as property. They have a specific word in the Fourth Amendment. I'm trying to think of what the word is. Effects. That's what they use in the amendment. Is be secure in your effects. That means property. That which you own. And so papers and property. If you have whatever you possess in the pursuit of your happiness. And so when people try to claim that, pursuit of happiness can't be quantified, yeah, the Constitution says it's property. That's the quantification of happiness. And all of us have those rights. Life, liberty, property. Cannot be seized, cannot be taken away unless we have done something wrong to someone else. And that it's punishment equal to the crime. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving from just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people, us, to alter or to abolish it, and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Remember, the GOP's in charge. Trump is GOP. Everything they do is for safety, protection. That's in their platform. It was in Trump's platform in 2016. Security. And how's that done? Not for we the people, but for Trump and his cronies. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Yeah, we're seeing that. It's called apathy. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. I think we qualify now. I think we've long qualified. It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. And then they go and list all the King George's crimes and abuses and usurpations. So understand that this is our land. This is our government. Yes, we took over and slaughtered the Indians with coronavirus blankets, but we were supposed to all live together. We had bought the land. The Knights Templar had bought the land from the Mandan Indian tribe east of the Dakotas, north and south. Oh, somebody... I haven't been away from that for 3 hours. What's going on here? Oh, the other one hasn't disappeared. Huh. Oh, edited. Okay. Yeah, Marty McFly was responding to Avenged Sevenfold, but because I hold all comments, they can't have a conversation without me now. On my other channel, I was realizing that people were having conversations without me because they would comment on somebody else's comment, and I never say it because it's not referring to me. So now I can find out about everybody. So if somebody's abusing another person, ain't gonna happen. You don't abuse me, you don't abuse others. But Marty McFly is not abusing Avenged Sevenfold. They're talking about Eric Lawton because he had come after me, and so I did a comment reply video about how he's the perfect example of Mormonism. Sarcastic, of course. And so Avenged Sevenfold finally saw it after all this time, and that's gotten other people to see it, as Marty McFly also has seen it. So YouTube is just... Alrighty, so we'll approve it. But we have immigration law that I wanted to add to this discussion, sort of. He's responding to my video titled "The Greatest Threat to the LDS Mormon Church is Kept Secret." I'm the greatest secret, or I'm the greatest threat to the church, which is they kept secret. Whereas other people, John DeLynn and others, they've made an example of by excommunicating them in the public realm, so that all may know, don't mess with us. But me, they've never excommunicated. They've never made a public display of me. They did everything to me in secret, under the cloak of darkness, in the cloak of shame. And so there's a big difference. And immigration law is not looking at all my other videos to catch on. So he's not quite catching on. He thinks that no one in the U.S. is a threat to the Mormon church. Not saying that the church is awesome and the power of God is with them, but that he just thinks it's, like so corrupt that nobody's going to dare challenge him. Or as Lucifer said, no one dares to molest or make afraid. But he says, best of luck to me. He thinks it will survive any institution or individual that doesn't have highly charged bombs. Sorry, immigration law. I beat the church. I literally beat the church in my civil lawsuit against them. I won. It's over. I won. The only problem is that it requires a judge's order to make it official so that I can get a collections agency and take everything from the church. Because that was my certain sum, or sum certain, was everything. And that's why I listed all known assets of the church in that reply to the failure of the church's council to reply. They were 24 days late, an automatic loss. They had no justifiable reason. They didn't put it in their motion to dismiss when I read it to you guys, when I finally got it, 24 days late. You have to have just cause to be late to allow the judge to ignore any kind of default on the docket. But notice, when you go to the docket, they did not put my final motions and entry of default on the docket. They neglected it. They ignored it. They are required to put it in there. They did not. And Judge First, her last day was on the 30th of April, and she did nothing. She did not side for me to give the order so that I could then contact the collections agency that I had already lined up. They're available 24/7. But Judge First ran away, as she had gotten fired for allowing the church, a case against the church to proceed, that Gaddy versus COP, which the new lawyer that replaced her, because they had her recused with her termination. Your Honor, you've been terminated. We need somebody else. You need to step down. Well, I tried to recuse her too, if you see the docket. Didn't want to go for it. And then apparently the clerk, it was the entry of default for the recusal. She never recused herself other than abandoning the case. And so it's in limbo. I technically won because the lawyers were in default by 24 days and had no justifiable excuse for their lateness. Because when I saw that they had finally filed on the docket 11 days late, I never got my copy. So I sent my motion reply and indicated that I had not received my copy. And so I'm doing this reply as it is the final days before the time allotted to reply. And sure enough, 24 days after, or the 24th day of being late, I finally get it in the mail and I show it to you. And actually it was when it was mailed, not when I got it. It was after the 14 days for me to file when I finally got it, but I had already submitted my reply before the deadline anyway. And so they confirmed that they did not give me my copy, and thus they fell into the trap of now being 24 days late, confirming that they are in default. And so all of their motion to dismiss is invalid. So I won. Literally, the church is mine. The trillions of dollars, mine. The assets on top of the trillions of dollars, mine. That church, the steakhouse down the road that I used to go to church with, where Bishop Reed Hammond said, "Why do you bother? Take down the video," or "Why do you bother?" I'm not taking down the video. See ya. It's mine. The sign on the door? Mine. President Lee Hall? Give me the keys. It's mine. The other churches down this way, other churches that way, they're everywhere here in Utah. All mine. All throughout the world. All mine. Just the technicality, I can't get the collections agency to get them for me because Judge First ran away. And so she didn't give the order. But they're technically all mine. I won. I beat the church. I am the greatest threat because I've beaten them. I've utterly destroyed them. They are non-existent now. But Judge First ran away, didn't give the order. I can't go to the collections agency, and you aren't finding out in the news, church is missing trillions of dollars. So, I did what Kay Birmingham failed. I did what others have failed. I have done better than what other people have done on a small scale. And by that, protect LDS children, for example. They got the church to change the bishop's questioning of little children in worthiness interviews. Because there's been a big sex scandal and bishops talking about sexually inappropriate, detailed stuff that little kids are like, what is that? Mommy? Daddy? What is that? What? He's told you what? So yeah, I mean, that's relatively small because the church still exists. It can still involve child slave labor with their tithing racketeering program. And church literally is over. There is no more church. Just need a judge to make that final act, and it's done. It's over. But the coronavirus is going to be 2 years down the road. I'm betting nobody's going to touch it, and I'm willing to bet I will still see it untouched today at noon, as they shut down the docket after noon until midnight. It's 219 CV 00711. Nope, still nothing. Well, unbelievable. See, there was their motion to dismiss on April 10th, Friday, April 10th. And then on the 23rd, certificate of service. They were 11 days late on the 10th, and then there's the evidence that they're even further late on the 23rd. You must file certificate of service when you submit your motions. They do not count if you haven't given the certificate of service. And they fell for it. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't get past the bar. I didn't go to law school. I didn't get licensed to practice here in Utah. Those guys did. Who are they again? Taylor John Hadfield and Sven R. Swenson, or Sven R. Svensson. They are professionals in the job, educated, passed the bar, got licensed, and work for a firm, Curtin McConkie. And they made not just rookie mistakes, just like lame mistakes. And it cost their client everything. And I don't need to go over their motion to dismiss, but I could. And we could have that debate in a hearing where I would point out what I did in the video I did on it. I don't need to. They were 24 days late. That's all that matters. There's no reason for being late. None. The church is mine. The Church of Lucifer Christ of Latter-day Saints is mine. I defeated Lucifer. I defeated Lucifer. That's hilarious. So, yeah, please understand this. When the history books are written 50 years from now, I won't be in there. So please pass it on through the generations that survived this coronavirus. Travis Wayne Goodsell beat in the courts, the federal courts, in a civil case, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I won. It's over. And so, yeah, I'm just going to delete this immigration law comment. And Justin Masterson, he wants me to do a video at location at Welfare Square. I don't do location videos. I mean, I could. It's not going to be good. So no, I'm not going to do it. It would be fun, but no. So, no. I did see Regent Street today as I was looking for an incident that occurred downtown. I go, oh, there's Regent Street. That's where Brigham Young set up his brothel that he attended regularly, despite all his wives. They still have it. They haven't torn down the street and turned it into a parking lot for the buildings and around it. It's just a hidden street through the block. Just hilarious. Alrighty, that's about it. Let's see how the other videos are doing. Bad things happen to good Mormons. 28 views. Only one like though. But part 2 of the symbol of Lucifer in the Mormon Church. Only 19 views, but 3 likes. So that tells me something about how people think of the quality of my video. And then you have the strange teen make work in LDS Mormon, Utah. I don't understand why somebody put a thumbs down on that. I was just noticing something going on outside my apartment building. A woman drives into our parking lot, dumps off these 2 teenage kids. They've got mops and a mop bucket and all that stuff. And then they just have a picnic when she comes back a couple hours later to pick them up. What is that about? So I just did a video. That's just strange. And that's it. I wasn't trash talking Mormons. Wasn't doing any of that. And thumbs down. Only 16 views because nobody cares about the video, but one person took offense. One person was offended. And that shows his character, not mine. And that's what Mormons do not get. Is that when somebody is talking on their own channel, for you to come onto their channel so that you can put a thumbs down, or you can put an abusive comment, or you can even make threats, as I still have the Islamic fundamentalist threat. I keep that one as archives. But a Mormon woman just went in an outrage against me the other week. And for what? Because she doesn't like what I have to say about the church? And that's the problem that Mormons have. Is that when I say, hey, Nelson just presented a Lucifer in general conference in the form of an idol god, Mormons blame me. They get angry and unchristlike. And that's on them. So it's weird how Mormons take it personally. As if I'm holding their children hostage or something. I mean, that's the way they think of it. When I say, hey, the church is satanic. Here's the proof. The inverted pentagram. Mormons are like, oh, you are the most evil. You not understanding? Lucifer is evil. Church has symbols of Lucifer. They have his precepts. If you don't know the precepts, which means you don't know the Book of Mormon, then Mormons. Book of Mormon tells you specifically what to look for the Church of Lucifer. And I've gone over this. My videos, I go over Mormon scripture. So that Mormons know that I'm not coming up with it from an outside source. I use Mormon doctrine, Mormon theology, Mormon scripture, Mormon quotes from the presidents of the church and from other apostles. I talk about their actions and compare them with the scriptures, which are the standard for judgment. By their fruits ye shall judge them. And it's the Book of Mormon for Mormons. They must comply to the Book of Mormon. You Mormons must comply to the Book of Mormon. You are not Christ-like if you follow the bad examples of the Book of Mormon. And Mormons just can't get it. They don't want to get it. And yeah, they go into hiding and hope it all goes away and that everyone will forget. And I'm not popular. These other LDS critics, they're the more popular ones. They're able to communicate with hundreds of thousands of people to talk about the abuse in the Mormon church, but they don't know what I know. And who's going around telling everybody Travis beat the church? But the judge bailed. But he officially won. Nobody. Nobody's going to know. Just the two people on my channel. I beat the church, guys. Alrighty. Another day gone by. But yeah, one of the women on the bus this morning, on my first load, because Smith's did you have to buy 5 in order to get the $2 off per item for orange juice. I can't pass that up, so I had to take a second trip in order to carry 5 gallons of orange juice. But yeah, I'm good for orange juice for a couple of weeks. But she was looking at the first load that I had and was making comments that had me concerned as to whether I was going to get stalked by her and then have somebody invade my home and steal my food. Again, this is the sad part that I'm realizing. I can only bring on the bus what I can carry with my 2 hands. And I'm not as strong as I used to be. I'm getting better. I've lost 30 pounds. And that's why I'm 10 minutes faster in my run, if you heard that video this morning. As the 30-pound loss is picking up the pace for me. And if I can pick up the pace consistently for another 10 minutes off my time, then I can pick up another mile. And so, yeah, it's awesome. If you're wondering, I do 2 miles. But yeah, it's very disturbing that the poor prey on other poor, and they don't see the perspective that the rich are who they need to go after. And I did the video where I said, you know, you're supposed to steal from the rich and give to the poor, not steal from the poor and keep for yourself. That's what the rich do. And instead, the poor follow the example of the rich. They emulate the rich rather than helping out the poor. Because we can't give as poor people. You know, if for some reason she stole my food, I'm out. I don't have any food. I don't have any money to buy more food. That's it. I have to wait until the next amount of money comes in. And that's what the poor don't get, is they just don't care about anybody else but them. And I can understand it, but they blame the wrong people. As I talked about the one guy at the bus stop who walked by asked me for 50 cents when it's $2.50 for a bus ride, and then kept walking on by, but threw in, oh, that's a lot of food you've got there. Can't give me 50 cents. Again, we're in the grocery store parking lot at the bus stop of Smith's. He walked by all the people loading up cartloads of groceries into their cars. And yet he makes a comment, a snide comment as he's walking away, because I turned him down for 50 cents. Because I don't use change, I don't use money, I use a card. So, I mean, this is what we're leading to as a nation. As people lose jobs, tomorrow, again, for next week, that's the new update now, is tomorrow. So we'll find out how many more people are added to the already record-breaking number. And those people have families. They're not all single people getting fired. These are people with families. And how do they take care of them? Like I was telling you yesterday, we have a new maintenance guy for our apartment. The other guy, who's been working here for 8 years, is just gone. He was getting a raise by getting more buildings to work on right before coronavirus, and now he's just gone. So, alrighty. I talked too long on this one, I guess, but things are getting bad, guys.